Hi everybody, welcome to Mommy's Book Bag this week. This week I might look a little bit different. I love October. It's one of my very favorite months. I love Halloween. It is my second favorite holiday, second only to Christmas, because I'm that person. And I love Halloween because it gives you the opportunity to imagine and pretend, and you're encouraged to do it, and I just love that because that is who I am in my heart. So this week I'm a scarecrow because we are talking all about pumpkins. So I found some really good ones. These are going to be good to read maybe before you go to a pumpkin patch, or when you get ready to make your pumpkin pies, or any number of ways. These are going to be some good books to share with your kids. So we will start off with this one, Duck and Goose Find a Pumpkin by Tad Hills. This book is phenomenal for toddlers. It's very short. It has very few words on the page, so it's easy to keep their attention. It is about friends Duck and Goose and how they want to find a pumpkin like their friend Thistle has, and they search all over the place and they can't find one until in the end, of course, they do in the most obvious of places. You can find it in the in just the staple print paperback, but I really prefer it in the board book. So I recommend if you can find it. Also, Duck and Goose is a series. There's lots of different Duck and Goose books, so definitely look into the rest of them as well. The next one we're going to talk about is 16 Runaway Pumpkins by Diane Ogletree. I think that's the right way to pronounce it. I'm so sorry if it's not, Diane. 16 Runaway Pumpkins. It's a counting book, obviously, especially good for kids that are working on additions or perhaps multiplication tables, especially their 2 times tables. That's going to be really good. This book will be good for them. It is about a raccoon named Sam who promises her grandpa that she's going to go out and find a whole bunch of pumpkins, and so she searches for them, and then disaster strikes, and she has to learn how to make the best out of a bad situation, and it's a very, very sweet story. Make sure you check it out. Speaking of learning books, you know I love a learning book. That's why they were the first videos that I ever made. We've got our next one, which is called Patty's Pumpkin Patch. It's by Terry Sloat. This book is a letter book. So at the bottom of each page will be a letter. They have it in the capital letter and also lowercase letter. And they have them associated with different animals and plants and things that you find around a farm. It is about a farmer named Patty and her pumpkin patch, and basically the life cycle of a farm and how it works. It teaches some really interesting things that I didn't know, like laying out hay to help prevent and stop weeds from growing in your pumpkin patch. It also talks about how to gather pumpkin seeds and dry them for the following spring season so that you can plant them, as well as roasting them to eat. It's very educational. It's a fun read. Yeah, I like it a lot. Speaking of informational books, though, we have Pumpkin Circle by George Levinson. This is a nonfiction book, but it's written in poem form, so I liked the story a lot. It has beautiful photography in it, and this one does talk about the life cycle of a specific, of a pumpkin specifically. So it teaches some really cool lessons. It talks about and has pictures of the different kinds of pumpkins and each of the different kinds of pumpkins, what their seeds look like. All their seeds look different. It's really interesting. It also teaches how you can name a pumpkin, or basically scratch a name into the pumpkin while it's growing, and then when it's full grown, it'll have the name on the side of it. So that's pretty cool. This is one that would be really, really good. You know, if your kids seem interested in wanting to grow their own pumpkins. I did when I was a little girl, and there's a picture of me somewhere holding my pumpkin, and I was very, very proud of it at the time. I wish I could find it, but this book would have been invaluable at that point. Yeah, this one is just really good. And last but not least, we are headed back to fiction based off of real. So How Big Could Your Pumpkin Grow by Wendell Miner. I think I've talked about Wendell Miner before. If not, I certainly should have, because they're wonderful. This book, it allows children to fantasize. Like, it talks about like these big humongous pumpkins and how big could your pumpkin go, and it gets very fantastical. It has really beautiful illustrations. You know, could your pumpkin get as big as Mount Rushmore? Could it get as big as the Grand Canyon? It really invites your children to imagine, and it's a lot of fun to read with them. But the really cool thing is at the end, in the back, there is a section that talks about the different things that they talk about in the book, like the Grand Canyon, for example, and where you can find them in different states around the country, for all the way from the giant pumpkin contest in Wisconsin to in Vermont. They actually have these things called pumpkin regattas. They have them in other states too, but it talks about in Vermont, these pumpkin regattas where people will take these giant pumpkins and actually carve boats out of them, and they're really fun. So this not only gives your children room to imagine, but also will teach them a lot about things that happen around the country too. Okay, so that's all of our books for this week. I hope that you check some of them out. I hope you love some of them. I hope you buy some of them. And I hope that your kids love them too. If you could do me a favor, if you liked this book, please go and hit the thumbs up button down below. It really helps me out. Also, make sure that you subscribe and hit the alert button so that you get notifications every time that I put up a new video. And I hope that you like the videos that I have coming up over the next few weeks. I'm just so excited for all of them. Starting with next week, we're going to talk about books about witches. Don't be afraid, they're going to be good books. I'll see you then. Bye.
Okay.
Are we good to go?
Yeah.
You press the play button?
Mm-hmm.
So we're going?
Yep.
Okay, we're going.